Hello, welcome to IELTS Listening. My name is Asad Yaqub and I am from Pakistan. In this video, I am going to give you some quick tricks and some magic tips to get a good bench score in IELTS Listening. This video is general, means I am going to cover the general aspects of IELTS Listening. In the subsequent videos, one by one, I am going to cover IELTS Listening by question type, and I'm going to give you tips for each type of questions, and I'm going to tell you how can you get a better bench score using these tricks. First of all, IELTS Listening has 4 parts, and these 4 parts are section 1, section 2, section 3 and section 4, and the level of difficulty increases gradually. There are 10 questions in each part, and in the beginning and at the end you will be given some time to read the questions and to check your answers. This is what you already know, but I'm going to tell you beyond that, and let me assure you I'm not going to waste your time. The tips I'm going to give you, they are actually going to help you with your IELTS listening, and this is my challenge. The tricks and tips I'm going to share with you, they will not be available elsewhere on YouTube or Facebook, because these are my own tricks and my own tips, and I've taken IELTS 2 times with 8 bench score. So I'm quite excited. That's why I'm sharing all these tricks and tips with you. So I hope after watching this video, you'll be very clear, and don't forget to watch all the videos of listening, because each video is going to give you tricks and tips for the specific type of questions. So let's take a start. In IELTS Listening, in the beginning of each section, they are going to give you some time to read the questions. Now, when you are going to read the questions, you have to read the questions very carefully. Before you start reading the question, you have to switch on your imagination. As you read the questions, you got to imagine the situation in which these type of questions can be asked, or a situation in which this type of audio can be played. Usually in IELTS Listening part 1 and 2, we have a dialogue, and then in part 3 we again have a tutorial, and part 4 is basically a lecture where one person talks and you got to listen and you got to answer the questions. So in the beginning of section 1, or in the beginning of each section, when you are reading the questions, you need to gather the information from the questions, and you got to visualize that, okay, this is going to be a dialogue. You can visualize like that. Okay, this is going to be a dialogue where one person wants to rent a room and the other person is giving information how to rent the room. And then you can anticipate, you can expect, or you can possibly think what kind of information are they going to share with each other. And within that information lies your answers. So all the answers are going to be within that exchange of information. So when you read the questions, after reading each question or after reading each gap, you should ask yourself a question: what can be the answer of this question? What is the answer that is in the audio? You will listen to it from there, but what can be the answer? That's what you can guess, that's what you can estimate, that what can be the answer. Now, for example, you read a question and you say the answer is a color. You read the question and you say the answer is a date. You read the question and you say the answer is the name of the person. You read the question and you say the answer is the passport number. Or you read the question, you say the answer is flight number. So you need to read the questions and you need to speculate what can be the answer to the question, because you know, if you speculate what can be the answer to the question, when the answer comes in the audio, immediately you will write it down. And if you do not guess what can be the answer will come and go, but who cares? Your pen will be still. It will not move, and that is a very dangerous thing. So you need to clearly read the questions, and while reading the questions, you need to ask yourself a question: what can be the answer to this question? Do you understand? Okay, now in section 1, 2 and 3, they will give you some time in the middle of the section also to read the next questions. So follow the instructions very carefully. At the end of each section, they will give you almost half minute to check your answers. Now, checking your answers means if this comes at the end of section 1, it means they are giving you half-minute time to check the answers of part 1. If they say at the end of part 2, you now have some time to check your answers, it means they're giving you this time to check the answers which you have written already. So if there is nothing to check, then my advice for you is that please move on to the next section and use this half-minute time in reading and understanding the questions of the next section. Why? Because if there is nothing to check, you've written the answers correctly and you think there is nothing to check, then definitely why you're going to waste your time on the same section which is completed. You should instead spend this time on the next section, and then this is how you can get 1 minute time to read the question. And you must do one thing in section 4. The main problem is the questions are lengthy. At times you start reading the questions, and as you are reading the questions, during the same time they say, now listen to section 4 and answer questions 31 to 40. Now in section 4 usually candidates get the low band score and the low correct answers. The reason is they are unable to read all the questions. Now what you are going to do, you are going to spend the time of section 3 to check the answers on section 4 and try to read all the questions in section 4. By the time the audio starts, you will have read all the questions from 31 to 40, and when the audio starts again, you can answer the questions quite easily because you've read all the questions, right? So remember, read the question and then guess what can be the answer. That usually happens in section 1, 2 and 3. If it is multiple choice, then the tips are different, but these type of tips I'm going to give you when we go ahead. In the subsequent videos, I'm going to give you the tips according to the question type. There I'm going to explain that. So I hope so far you've understood overall about IELTS listening, and I've got some tips to improve your listening skill as well. Try to listen to English as much as possible, and when you're listening to English, don't listen to the songs only, listen to IELTS audios. You can download many IELTS audios for part 1, 2, 3 and 4 and listen to these audios. These audios are going to develop your listening skill for IELTS purpose. If you watch movies, you are actually directly not developing your listening skill for IELTS. If you're listening to songs, you're not developing your listening skill for IELTS. But if you are listening to IELTS audios, I mean the practice tests, even if you're not taking the practice test, but when you're listening to IELTS audios, you are specifically developing your listening skill for IELTS, and that will actually help you in actual IELTS test. I wish you all the best. I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care. See ya soon.